little did we know of the secret evil underground organization known as Umbra.
Oh, you already saw it. Damn it.
We did not
I was
know
hoping to get your live reaction.
about Umbra and the fact that Umbra is actually beneath most of the civil social unrest, and their ideologies don't matter. They just they're no good.
They tell you they're for anti-corruption and equality, but they're actually just terrorists.
And you can recognize the trademark Umbra symbol, the raised black fist, as the icon of Umbra. Hail Umbra is
Now,
really
Wooly,
the energy that they're bringing. But how do we stop them?
well, this is what's really important. So we have our deniable ops, our CIA man, such as Sam Fisher, who you know is good to go for whatever the government tells him. But more than that, we're not going to beat Umbra by playing by the rules, Wooly. We're going to need to go extra legal and invite cartel members and terrorists to stop the evil that is Umbra. Because it's just that important.
Good and bad people alike need to be brought on board so that we have a takes no shit team to deal with these revolutionaries that are actually just evil.
They're out to destroy the world order and bring in a new, worse world order.
So let's get some real good heroes and some criminals. Let's arm them.
Bad criminals.
Let's get some criminals and some heroes, and let's arm them and put them on the same team and send them out there to stop the big fist in the sky.
The evil organization that is so Wooly, we have to remember, okay, this is really important. Wait, before we go further, okay? It's not just that this Umbra organization is committing terror acts that are causing innocent lives and trying to upend the world order. No. They are also using social media to discredit world leaders.
This is true.
That's just as important.
Social media is making the Umbra cause viral, and that's bad because it's infecting minds and hearts. We need our gun criminals to go in there and defeat minds and hearts by winning the people over with our guns. Hey, okay, so let's put a pin right there, all right? And let's just step back to any conversation we've had about me talking about the games industry and projects that I've worked on. And in general, we know a thing or two. I would say you understand a thing or two about the games industry. Maybe
I have followed and known enough people in the games biz, and I would consider myself now part of the games biz, to know a little bit about how things are made.
Okay. I won't ask you what you classify yourself as, but you definitely can answer.
Influencer.
Well,
obviously.
In your estimation, about how long does the average current day Ubisoft game take to make?
Long time. Depending. This is a mobile game, so it's probably a little less, but for the average Ubisoft game, takes between 1 and 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 4 if it's an important one.
Would you definitely say then it takes more than just the months of 2020?
Yes. In fact, this game was announced back in June of last year. I even have a promo screenshot of it.
Okay.
From an article on June 10th right now.
Okay.
And it's just got a bunch of Rainbow Six characters and Sam Fisher's looking at each other.
So how many meetings do you think occurred between, I don't know, let's just arbitrarily say George Floyd and now, that had a bunch of people talking it over, possibly sweating, and then going, nah, let it rock?
So you're obviously a lot more in tune with internal politics of a game industry place, and meetings and whatnot. My personal guess is one. People brought it up, and the person whose ability to say "nah, let it ride" said "let it ride," and then the second time it got brought up, the statement was, "I said let it ride."
That is possible. Who knows? I would assume more than one, personally. But it has been brought to my attention, because here's the other thing now. I don't really know about the bad guys in recent Tom Clancy games. But it's been brought to my attention that apparently for the last couple, they've kind of been going for like no real cause, no real purpose, just sort of terrorists for the sake of terror without an attachment thing for all the plausible deniability in the world.
In Wildlands, it's, I want to say, a fucking foreign government that's bad.
Okay. So I did, and I don't know because I didn't go through it, but I saw implication that
no, sorry, it's in Wildlands. It's Bolivia is taken over by a Mexican drug cartel.
Okay, what's the one where you're in New York and everything's fucked up?
The Division.
The Division. I heard that one was against non-specific people that are kind of vaguely climate change people.
Oh no, Wooly! In the Division, the first people you shoot are looters. I'm using air quotes here, wearing a bunch of hoodies.
Okay.
And the first mission in the game is food drops have landed in this section of the city. You have to stop looters from getting them because we need them. So you go and shoot all the people trying to eat. And then the second enemy faction is a public workers union that has gone crazy and turned genocidal because their union is a cult.
Okay.
And then in the second game, it's about the American Civil War in modern day in Washington, D.C. And it turns out that the Division may, in fact, actually be the evil faction.
Okay. Well. Listen, there is obviously something here that is clear. That is, this game was not. We're talking about the Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, which had the Elites, the intro played, where we saw all this stuff that we're talking about for the game. Obviously, the game was not written in fucking February, right? Obviously,
it also wasn't written in the United States. It's a French game.
French game, right? Definitely.
Like Paris, France game.
But, like, and sometimes, as we know, video games happen to just land too on the money. Ask Hideo Kojima about that.
No, I don't want to.
It seems...
Give me a weird answer.
Right? So, all coincidences in place, it just seems kind of nuts to not expect there to be some kind of feelings about the trailer for this game. It's
thing,
not even
right?
on a level of like, here's what you should or should not have done. It's, how did you expect people to react here? Did you not expect there to be anything coming up? Because they apologized and they said they're removing the black fist.
The fist.
They're removing the fist. And, you know, there's people that are like, man, there's nothing wrong with that. Fuck it, it's fine anyway. And it's like, okay, that's what you feel. But it definitely is something where like the company, like the people whose job, the HR department, whose job it is to like stop this further bad light from shining on a company that's already been, I believe the word is, embattled this year, from looking extra negative. And well, it was already pretty rough with everything coming out about Ubisoft. This is just a little extra like, hey, reminder, what the fuck? We didn't pay attention to this. We didn't think this was going to be a big deal.
I feel like that train of thought is almost giving Ubisoft in particular, and I want to bring Ubisoft specifically to task for this. I was making fun of, the day that I saw this trailer, I was making fun of the Activision devs because sure enough, they put out an interview where they talk about having Ronald Reagan in their game doesn't mean anything.
we can talk about World at Cold War, because that's a trailer too. And I'm watching.
Like Ronald Reagan is there being like, I'm the hero that enabled the other Black Ops games and I'm so cool.
I'm watching that trailer and I'm like, damn, that looks exactly like him. And then I'm like, press nothing to let the CIA ravage the hood with crack to fund foreign wars.
Press F to ignore the AIDS crisis is my other favorite one.
Just leave it alone.
Right? So that I was like making fun of that pretty much all day, because it's like it's the most absurd it's ever been, right? And then around, I don't know, like 6-7 p.m., like I saw people talking about this Ghost Recon Elite Squad thing. I'm like, how bad? Wow! Out of my way, Call of Duty. You know, who cares about that? Who gives a shit anymore? Right? Like, get the fuck out of here. You got knocked off the front page. And so my first thing is, I go, okay, Reagan
is old news. That's,
right? When was this made? All right, so this is a game that's been in development for over a year. Okay. It literally can't be about the George Floyd / Breonna Taylor stuff and the COVID. It can't be. It doesn't make sense. The timing
makes no sense.
Work.
Of course not.
Right?
That's ridiculous.
And it's made by French people in France. So it's not an American team either. So the natural benefit of the doubt feeling is like, wow, they do a lot of Tom Clancy stuff, and the Tom Clancy stuff does hedge really like authoritarian military by its brand, right? So they really just accidentally whatever, and then they just were dumbasses and didn't fix it when life started changing around them, right? I think that is way, way too much of a benefit of the doubt, because it is a French game. Do you know what France fucking loves? Huge riots. France loves dudes on the street fighting cops with batons, riots. That is a cultural staple of France. That is absolutely likely what they're bringing that protest plot thing from, because France is a fucking protest riot country. They've got a long history of it. They killed all the royals, then they killed all the people who killed all the royals. It's a whole fucking thing,
heads
right?
rolled. But this is the... Okay.
Number two, and this is the important thing, is that you look at the evil shadow organization, literally shadow organization. Umbra means shadow. And it has a big black fist. You go, wow, that's crazy, but it can't be about George or Brianna, right? But Ferguson was 2014. That was a long time ago. And civil unrest over the going-ons in regards to BLM down in the States has been a constant for like 10 years. The idea that they're
they didn't
put this shit in on purpose is absurd.
No. It is absolutely that at the time of writing a couple years ago, reading the future a little bit and going, well, the enemies of order here are the villains, and this is what this is where we're going, right? This is what makes sense, and this is how you have a homegrown enemy that's even scarier than a foreign one.
Yeah.
Right. That's the whole thing. But like, it's coming from that place for sure. But it's just one of those things where like sometimes you're a little too on the nose with anything you're making in this industry, and in this particular case, the fact that like no one would like even just take the path of least resistance on this and be like, you know what, let's just be dumb and crazy and just go overboard and say, nope, we're gonna throw in all the white zombies to the front of that Resident Evil 5 trailer. We're gonna go over the top with correction on it, and just assume
it's so overt, and the idea that no one said anything, that I have to believe that at least part of it is intentional. I mean, the thing that made me laugh the hardest watching that trailer was not the hilariously the actual Black Fist coming up and like racing in the goddamn graphic. It was that the name of the group is Umbra. That is like, I don't know how good people's Latin is, but like Umbra means shadow, but it's also the blackest part of a shadow. And it's a synonym for other Latin words that mean black, that if you were to call your group that, people would go crazy.
So it's not even the fun words. Yes, the fun branch of language. To me, it's not that. To me, it's the narration, where you're looking at them and the narrator is basically like, yeah, these are anarchists. They're taking advantage of escalating civil unrest to generate more chaos and weaken governments. Like, it's one of those things where it's just like, how did your HR department how did they let it rock? I don't know. It's wild. It's wild. But here we are, and they're like, yeah, we're sorry about that. We're changing the fist. It is what it is.
I need to find a screenshot from the Division's Division 2, which is the game they said wasn't political. Right? Like, and it was like, Division 2 doesn't mean anything, despite it being about the Civil War in the United States. There's a fucking... Oh, here it is. I found it. They said it's not political. It's not about anything. It's not pushing a message at all. And here is a real screenshot from the opening fucking... where is it? With no police to protect you. All right. This is literally the first 30 seconds of the game, Wolves. I would like you to describe what you see.
Did you own a gun? And it's a picture of a gun.
A giant screen-filling gun.
Look, I mean, here's the thing, right? You definitely can, because I've seen people going to the extremes about like, talking about like, hey man, these games appeal to a certain type of person, and they know their audience, and they know they
Wait,
know.
Just 1 second. Before you, here's the follow-up to that question.
Did you own a gun? Did you neighbor?
No, did your neighbor?
Did your neighbor own a gun? Oh, like, someone, yeah.
And then they're fighting over supplies.
You're
like,
right.
Ubisoft,
Okay.
You guys lie. You lie.
Right. So there's like, there's I think there's an over extreme argument about like, it's talking about like the types of audiences that this plays towards, and the people that are like thrilled with that kind of trailer and that kind of bad guy, right? And I think that's a bit of an over exaggeration, because it's like, hey man, like I now can say I've played a military shooter or two. I played Spec Ops. I thought that was a fun time.
There is an appeal to what I would call like military fetishism, like there is to like medieval fetishism or something.
And you don't have to exclusively lock that to a fucking boog boy or something. You know what I mean? Like you don't got to go down that road. That's an extreme exaggeration. However, there is absolutely a line that like companies like Ubisoft, as you just pointed out, love to ride on, which is definitely a like, hey, is that what I think it is? And then they're like, no, it's about nothing. It's not. There's nothing here. Apolitical. It's not about, you know, fuck anything in particular. It's just about fuck that general energy, you know? And you're like, you're keeping it vague enough that you have plausible deniability if anyone points at any one part and goes, what's up with that? But you know what you want the energy to be. And you put that in the game.
And you know what kind of energy you want to cater to and what kind of, like, oh, man, what do you want people to think is cool? Does the idea of getting Sam Fisher and a bunch of terrorists to light up a protest line give you a chub?
Fuck.
Like,
you know.
If so, we got a loot box for you, motherfucker.
Well, here's what's up, right? Once the game comes out, I'm sure you will see within 20 seconds, maybe even 45, you will see like the protest and or the Umbra whatever, and then you'll see a secret like back alley group of people like just beat an old lady down and then like shoot her and her dog, and then like take her money and then kick the body behind a dumpster and then join the protest.
So here's the thing, I don't know, man.
And they're gonna be like orders from on high, you know.
One of the weirdest things about The Division is that the dudes that were looting the food at the very beginning, like, they don't do anything before the game tells you to shoot them. Like, they're literally scavenging for food. And
so
your guy comes on the earpiece and goes, kill them, they're stealing.
So you think they won't even throw in a kitten test?
Dude, all I'm saying is that they have not bothered to in the past. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Foxcade, who is a funny guy and also a smart guy, for digging through old articles to find the gem that I just sent to you from August 9th, 2019, from the last interview with the Call of Duty devs that sums up this whole thing perfectly.
Infinity Ward says modern warfare isn't political. Developers want to examine topics like colonialism, proxy wars, and power imbalance in a totally non-political way. I mean, doesn't it actually, like, as much as you chortled to get fucking Call of Duty out of the way, is that Know Your History campaign moment not the full emblematic microcosm of this entire energy? It's like
Ubisoft's are more consistent and more outrageous, but like the Reagan shit is just like the fucking audacity.
Well, so
the audacity that you would bother to lie to me about this. Are you kidding me?
Dude, world history is hilarious because, like I said, it's just one of these things where you're looking at a very clear series of games for a longest while where they're like, look, man, World War I and II existed, World War II existed, and that is as black and white perfect for video games as you can get because these Nazis
guys were bad, we were
the worst, but also they have very different equipment and guns from us.
Totally do.
So we can have two teams set up perfectly against each other. Axis versus
the 30
Allies
cal is not the same as the MG42.
Axis versus Allies, good to go forever. And then you have to start moving forward in time. And then you have to start pretending that clearly modern conflicts and political things are not political at all.
They're just as one-sided, man.
And so you have to have a giant multi-billion-dollar company sitting there giving answers that David Cage would give when asked what his robot game is about.
The game is called Call of Duty Cold War. The Cold War. You mean the war that was nothing but proxy wars and ideological conflict between governing nations and proxy dictators? Are you fucking kidding me with this shit? Are you fucking for real?
How fucking sick would it be if an organization pops up called Umbra that starts making moves in real life? After
you know, that
this
reminds
point.
me of, actually, do you remember Archer season, I think 3 or 4, where Mallory
ISIS.
is like complaining about how they're removing the ISIS logo?
Yeah, ISIS. Yeah.
And it was like, because at their spy organization was called ISIS, and then ISIS fucking happened, and then they're writing the new season, and they're like, man, this shit is not funny anymore. Like, it's
weird.
just like,
it's definitely weird, and like, I mean, and it's one of those things where, like, yeah, from season 1 they had that there, you know, but and I know that, like, for a while there was that ISIS or ISIL was like being used either way, but yeah, it definitely no longer is the goddess in ancient Egypt anymore. That's gone.
those jerks.
That shit is gone completely, you know? Anyway. Yeah, that's just and it's not even like any relevant thing. It just happens to be the wrong acronym, and now that God's PR campaign is fucked forever.
You know what the best part about all this Elite Squad shit is? Is that I did see some people say that they downloaded it to try it, and the game's a piece of shit and won't load or work properly for most of them.
Damn. Well, if you do get it working and or boot this up and play it, do let me know from start to Umbra kicks a puppy right in the scrot. I want to know. I want to know how fast it happens and how loudly the dog yips as your main character squad zooms in on the puppy being kicked.
I want to know how many microtransaction turns it takes before Sam Fisher says that tear gas ain't cutting it and we need to kick up to live ammunition to really give it to Umbra.
Yeah. Let's find out. Let's get the countdown to find out, like, is Willie Pete ever a discussion that occurs? Who knows? Here's the other thing. What's the countdown to? What's the countdown to Umbra, like, fucking offing an old lady and kicking her puppy? Or what is the countdown to the criminals we have on our team are just criminals of circumstance, but what they did, any normal person decent would have done.
So that's not going to happen because the criminals on the team are like fucking Tom Clancy villains.
Okay.
And Tom Clancy villains are like gang members or terrorists or cartel members. There's absolutely no in between. Like, one of the funniest things is that there's a I think she's Brazilian. One of the Rainbow Six operators. I think her name is Cavera. I forget. She's the woman with the skull mask, like skull paint.
Okay.
The idea that character would like coexist with a cartel member for more than 1 second is so ridiculous. So the idea is like, well, this New World Order protest group has to be more dangerous than even your most mortal enemies.
The unifying threat, of course. Yeah.
End of days as we know it. Umbra.
It really is the extra fucking icing layer of, and so we sent in the criminals to do the good guy's job. We sent in the Suicide Squad.
There's a shot of like when they say like we're not going to win this playing by the rules, it's like 10 dudes in a boardroom looking at a screen of terrorists going, which one do we send, guys?
Uh,
And it's like, I don't think even in the most peaceful of times that would have played correctly.
yeah.
Like, like more than anything, I guess if I want to sum it up, like my feelings towards like Activision and Call of Duty and Ubisoft is that it's so tiring when they're like, we're not trying to say anything, and it's like, I think everyone knows exactly what you're trying to say. You're just too embarrassed to actually say it. It would be less tiring if you just came out and said it.
I'd say that's on point. I also have a second thought, distant though it may be, is that I kind of have a wistful nostalgia for something that never happened. I'm yearning for the days where this news story would have not been that the trailer came out, but where the days where this news story would have been a group of about 30 to 50 protesters in the middle of a real march. Turns out they were actually a paid flash mob to advertise Elite Squad.
Oh my god.
We're marching alongside.
Just wait.
They were paid advertisers marching alongside the real protest, and they were saying "Hail Umbra" on their signs, and no one quite knew what they were talking about, but it was conspicuous when the camera crew came up and started filming them.
Oh man. Yeah, we're not that far away from that, are we?
And then it's reported on mainstream news, and then they're like, "Hey, yo, yeah, we didn't. Sorry, guys. Sorry that as they were being chased away and or arrested, they shouted available in stores September 18th before they got shoved in the back of a van." I'm mournful of those days being gone, because that's the version of this story that I feel in my heart.
Yeah.
The flash mob for hire.
The fake Christian protest against Dante's Inferno is the one that always stems in my head.
Dude, I didn't even know that happened.
Oh, you didn't?
No. What is
that?
There
was a fake Christian protest that EA hired to campaign outside of E3 the year Dante's Inferno got announced.
Incredible. Yeah. And like, I want to see a list. I want to see those protesters like from a casting sheet, a nice, perfect representation of everybody, all creeds, colors, races, and sizes, and just doing that Kylie Jenner coke walk, through the protest.
I don't know why she's staying at home. Why doesn't she just give the police Coke or a Pepsi? Was it a Pepsi?
I don't even.
Why don't she just give them that, and then we can pack this shit up and go home? This is really all Kylie Jenner's fault.
Ubi, that's a free marketing campaign. If you haven't cashed it in already, what are you doing? I'm available all day. That's Woolie marketing right there.